your video.
Yeah, that I will do. All right, we're live. Yes, we are definitely live. I think we're live. We're live. Yes, we
We're
are
live.
live. And as usual, the guest has been revealed ever so slightly just as we get into this. Welcome back. It's another week of the Couch Pundits Cricket Podcast. It is myself, Akash, and with me is also myself, Dhaval. How's it going,
Hey,
Dhaval?
it's going good, man. England have taken the review for their final wicket, and things are looking good for India.
या
Uh,
एब्सोल्युटली मतलब इतना खूबसूरत खेले इतना अच्छा बॉलिंग इंग्लैंड में वो भी एकदम ऐसा व्हाट अ ग्रेट डे एंड नाउ ऑब्वियसली इंग्लिश
yeah.
फैंस विल बी लाइक ओहो हमारे ओपनर्स का ये था हमारे इसको वो हो गया उसको ये हो गया we're making a
No,
habit out of beating teams at home man
no way. That's missing the wickets. Oh man,
oh oh no oh no just as
no
my
way has
joy was
that happened.
escalating oh shit
Yeah, this is a classic
oh
case of
shit
don't celebrate too soon,
Oh
Akash.
man, it's one of the few things that I like to do because if you celebrate too soon, then you get to celebrate multiple times in case you do win. Okay.
Oh man, you should say this at the beginning of those YouTube clips where they celebrate too soon and then वो लोग का ऐसा मतलब कचरा हो जाता है. Having said that, welcome one and all. We're going to discuss the week in cricket. It's something that we've
Mm-hmm.
not done for a while. Generally, we just come and speak things at you guys and then go away. They're generally not the week in cricket, but we're trying to get back to that. So we're going to discuss Windies Pakistan, the solitary game that happened in the series.
Yes.
Dwayne Bravo unfortunately
चलो
getting
चलो
not much
पति गयो
there.
पति
Oh,
गयो चलो बोल्ड बाय बाय एंडरसन आज नहीं मारोगे छक्के टाटा सी यू गुड
wait.
नाइट
They still have to check the no ball. It's
अरे
Bumrah.
नहीं 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 अरे 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 ऐसा मत बोल नो बॉल बोलने का नहीं बेशरम ऐसा सब मत बोल डराने का नहीं 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 नो कुछ नो बॉल नहीं है यस बॉल
Yes,
यस बॉल
very much a yes ball,
वेरी
and
मच यस बॉल
Anderson smiling. He just knew it was a matter of time. Okay, coming back, we're also going to
यस
discuss Bangladesh thrashing Australia. Well, not thrashing, beating them 2 out of 2 games so far.
व्हाई नॉट
So that's going to be fun. And we're obviously we're going to talk about the test match series that has just begun with the
यस
first innings of England ending at 183 runs in 65 overs. So
यस
India will have about 20 overs to bat today. I don't think there's that much time with light and all.
या
But yeah,
प्रॉब्ली
so lots
15
to
overs
discuss. And we have someone very special with us, Akash. Who do we
yeah
have
man
today?
dude it's very rare for us to get a guest where the introduction like I was just telling him before the podcast also ki, like every single paragraph in this introduction is an episode so we're going to take this part by part okay we are talking to somebody who's a former athlete who's also an analyst who's worked across sports across teams across countries okay he's even been part of the Olympics and or 2 Olympics and 4 Asian Games okay and it's mind boggling currently he's settled in a position where he works for the Delhi Capitals and he works as an analyst for the Delhi Capitals so this is somebody who knows his numbers so matlab hamara polar opposite in that regard and he's also promised to give us a lot of them it gives me a lot of joy to bring on to the club why am I fumbling I'm getting like starstruck already sorry please give it up for Sriram Somayajula.
Yay. Welcome, Sriram.
Oh, I'm going to ask
You
him
have
to
to,
start the
yeah,
video. Yeah,
yeah. There you
done.
go.
There he is.
Thank,
Welcome.
thank you, guys. Thank you.
I was gushing by the end of it because I was just getting so excited for the conversation.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, man. So as we were just talking before the stream, you have done so much already. You worked with so many teams, across so many sports. And unfortunately, we're only discussing cricket in this stream. So we're going to focus on that and we're going to take you through the week of cricket. So we'll start with the Windies Pakistan series. Unfortunately, like we said earlier, only one game was possible due to rain.
Yeah.
Dwayne Bravo's last series in West Indies in the Caribbean gets to play only one game, but like he's been a phenomenal player, right?
Yeah, I mean, who can say no to that? Dwayne Bravo has been fabulous for not just West Indies. He's been so good. I think he's the highest wicket taker in the world in the T20s.
Oh wow.
and domestic. Of course, he's had a very brief T20 international career though, but
Hmm.
obviously he comes back after almost 6 or 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
He's come back, and for him to be playing these 15 games back in the West Indies in the last three series, and that's all run up to the World Cup that's going to happen in a couple of months from now. So it's been fabulous the way he's actually had success in this format, and especially the fact that he's played for CSK. I sort of don't go with your, it doesn't go with your background though, but I'm sure your arch rivals, if I can put it that way. Uh, but yeah, but he's had tremendous success for the franchise, for in the IPL,
Yeah.
playing for that for CSK for a very long time, and he's been a stalwart for them. What not to
Yeah.
what more can we add on that?
Oh, also amazing DJ.
Oh yes, of
Amazing
course.
DJ.
Right.
And I think he was one of those first players who really became a professional T20 player across franchise cricket. Like one
Yeah.
of those initial few, like him and Pollard and
Yeah.
maybe a few others from the West Indies and across the world. But Dwayne Bravo comes to mind like as one of the pioneers in that sense of, playing
Correct.
franchise cricket exclusively.
Yeah, in those times where T20 was just still at a nascent stage, where
Mhm.
the West Indians basically, right, they, out of which at least Pollard and Bravo, like you named, they used to go and play all the leagues across, whether it's Big Bash, Pakistan Super League, coming to Indian Premier League, go back and play Bangladesh. So they travel the world. I mean, not one place they have not seen. If there was a Maldivian cricket club, or a PNG, Papua New Guinean, they would have probably ended up playing there as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that culture also just propels the game forward. When you have so many players exchanging ideas in so many places as well, just pushes the format and every player in that format ahead as well. Uh, which is my favorite thing about T20. Like when you have 60 something matches now, it's like there is so much room for so much drama, so much thing can happen, so many ideas get exchanged, techniques get better, and competition also generally just goes up so much. Very quickly going to take the conversation away from this and remind the chat ki like thoko please, because that's how the YouTube algorithm works. You have to hit the like button and then the algorithm pushes the stream to more people, and that's how we make a meager hobby out of this. uh, I was going to say a living, but then I was
We
like,
do
no,
not.
living is not.
This is not how we make our living.
ये धवल का शर्ट ऐसे ही नहीं हुआ है, ये धवल का शर्ट उसको जाना पड़ता है ऑफिस में रोज. Oh man, so as part of this stream, I also want to tell you all that Sriram's photo keeps getting stuck on my screen at very angry moments. So here's a very angry Sriram just, and it's always when I'm trying to make a joke. So I feel like for a second, I always feel like I should recoil immediately from the joke. Anyway, coming back, hit like, please, Dhaval, back to you.
Yeah.
Again, this is a tussle between Mumbai Indians and Delhi Capitals, right? I know when you took the screenshot.
Oh man, since you brought it up, Delhi Capitals having a good season so far. We're just going to go there. IPL is going to come up pretty soon. Dates have been announced and all. Excited? Getting back?
Absolutely. I mean, I can't just sort of wait for that IPL to kickstart again.
Yeah.
And we are all set for it. I think I mean, Shreyas Iyer is going to be back for us as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And he made an announcement that he'll be back if he's all good, with his injuries and recoveries and stuff. So we can't wait to get him back in the side, and all guns blazing again. Just one step ahead this time. And
Yeah, man, it's
कर लो ये साल जीत जाओ यार तुम लोग, बस हो गया, अभी मुंबई नहीं जीतेगा चलेगा यार, कर लो यार. देखो गौरव कपूर का डॉक्यूमेंट्री भी अच्छा बनना चाहिए, है कि नहीं? तो करो यार. I'm really rooting for Delhi at this point, because like I just don't want Chennai to win.
have you
man.
got better screenshot?
It was so like frankly at the beginning of the season I gave Chennai no chance. I put them
Yeah,
down as one
man.
of those teams who were really going to struggle given their performances in the previous edition and the fact that they're not made too many changes or were not able to make too many changes through the auction. but they managed to put together an insane team, and just because of that, I would be happier if Delhi Capitals were to win, if not Mumbai, of course.
I mean,
Uh,
if you look at the success of CSK, that's their key all through the 14 years of IPL so far. They have never actually chopped and swapped so many players and names across their 14 IPL so far. I mean,
Yeah.
even last year, if you see when they didn't have the best of seasons, and they did not they did try a few options here and there, but they were not like massively changing the squad or the composition of the team itself. So for me, I think that was one reason where I felt that they would always make a strong comeback, and they did this year. And
mhm.
they are probably, I think the second in the table right now after
Yeah,
Delhi. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I think, but so okay, so this is a slightly off question, but I've always wanted to know, when you're a performance analyst in sports, in a sport like cricket, what are the data points you're looking at? Because it's just fascinating to me. Like, you must be monitoring so many different things to get an idea, right?
yeah. So it starts with as simple as just the toss factors. It could be the pitch that you're playing, or it could be just the average scores that we are talking, or it can get into deep insights of how a player versus player, what we call it in a as matchups.
Mm,
So it could be anything that really will make you from a question to make you wonder. So
Hmm.
if it has to really make it really sensible for the coaches to be applying that on the game, we could still go and talk about that and then derive information and pass on to the players if that really is going to be not too much of information for them carrying on the field. So there's so much data actually.
Yeah.
If I were to sit and analyze one game particularly, just say against say we are playing Sunrisers and we want to see how Rashid Khan is going to bowl. Everybody thinks of Rashid Khan the moment you say Sunrisers. So just that one factor where we discuss 15 minutes, 20 minutes, in the team meetings and the players meetings and stuff, it goes on and on. That's because there's so much of data, there's so much of information that's available.
Right. And it must be, and of course, there are infinite combinations in which to look at that information as well,
Yeah,
right? Because,
yeah,
uh,
that's the beauty of it.
yeah. Oh, it sounds so exciting on its own only.
yeah,
If
man.
it,
And it's also now when it comes to a player like Dwayne Bravo or Kiran Pollard, who's played so many T20 games, and
hmm,
it would be great and also very annoying from an analyst's point of view, because you'll have their performances, but also against the opponents will be so weird. So how is it that you're able to sift through that data and get those, maybe for especially for those matchups, like how do you know how they perform in certain situations? Is that something that you also are
There's
able to do?
always a benchmark.
Uh-huh.
There's always a benchmark. If I were to look at Karen Pollard versus an ordinary, very, very ordinary opposition, then as opposed to the best of teams that he has played. So we weigh them. If West Indies is playing UAE, which is not in the top 10, as opposed to West Indies playing an Australian team or an Indian team, we will have certain parameters as in how we analyze those players and what they will be doing against a particular batsman or a bowler, and so forth and so on. So, and the conditions matter a lot where
Mm.
they are playing
right.
and what time of the game. There's a lot of difference from playing a 4 p.m. game and a 7 or 8 p.m. game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of due factor that comes in. I mean, you would have seen
Oh, Mohali.
even Wankhede for that matter, Mumbai,
Yeah.
where
Yeah, yeah.
after 7 p.m., 6 7 p.m., there's so much of dew. You sweat so much, right? Then you will literally feel like
But
you're
it's very interesting to me because nowhere in Mumbai is there dew after 7 p.m. It's only in the stadium.
Hmm.
You'll never find it anywhere else. I am sure
वो घास पे
Mohali.
होता है, मुंबई में घास है ही कहाँ.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's where the data again, pointers come into play, where we talk about specifics and we stick on to that. We know what we want of our bowlers against batter like Pollard, or we know how Dwayne Bravo is going to come and attack in the death overs or initially or in the middle overs. What is his weapon, and what are the
Hmm.
getaway deliveries and stuff. So there are certain indicators that we talk about. I mean, obviously we can't discuss that here now, but
Of
Of
course.
course.
So as the data analyst, is at what point do the players say, okay, I understand what you're saying, but I'm still going to do this because I am more comfortable doing this. For example, you might have a particular plan against a batter that he's not comfortable with the short ball, but the players are still on the field, and how much of a call are they taking in the plans and like setting up those plans?
look, the thing is, with regards to the players, we don't go and tell them what they need to do. We ask them what they're comfortable, because also, the other thing is, I cannot come and tell you exactly what you have to do, because I need to understand you firstly. What are your strengths?
Hmm.
What are my teammates' strengths? And understanding that, my captain, obviously will be sitting in the meetings, planning meetings, and the coaches will be around. We will be talking about the findings that I have seen of a particular bowler or a batsman, talk about that, and then we get into the field, and then it's all about the captain and the players there, right? So
Yeah.
they should be extremely comfortable to do that. If I went and told some bowler that you have to go and nail those yorkers, and if he's not comfortable bowling those yorkers, there's no point in explaining so much.
Yeah. But I
But
think in the modern game, the strategy and the analysts are as much a part of, like, they're just an extension of the mind of the captain, right? In some sense, you're the extra brain power that the players probably wouldn't have time for because they're busy training in other
yeah,
aspects of stuff.
yeah. That's again, not trying to say that it has to be the strategist or the analyst who's sort of driving the entire thing. We are
Hmm.
just adding what those 1% is, which will add value to the team, right?
Right.
And that will be helping the team to make some decisions on the go.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
uh, it's very interesting what you do. So we will talk about it, but right now we're going to go back to talking about current cricket, especially the Bangladesh Australia series, where Bangladesh have beaten Australia 2 games in
In
a
a row.
row.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by this result?
Not at all, because Bangladesh is actually, playing some lovely cricket right now.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I've known the players, have been part of
Yeah,
few other teams in the Bangladesh Premier League in the past.
right.
Currently, I've known cricketers who are doing, but that's the good thing about them. They stick together so well. When it
Hmm.
when it really matters, they come so hard at the opposition. But on the other side, if you look at the Australian side itself, the team is not is short of some good batters like David Warner's, and
Yeah.
Aaron Finch is not part of this team, unfortunately, for an injury. He's missed out. So you wouldn't have this side going to the World Cup for
Yeah.
Australia. And if you were to gauge this sort of a performance with Bangladesh, obviously there's probably they could bat a little better than what they did, or the wickets could be a little better, more
Hmm.
batting friendly. They won't get the similar wickets in UAE when they play the World Cup.
Yeah.
So that probably has to be different. And I would say average score will be somewhere about 165 in the UAE, as opposed to what is 125, 130 yesterday, in the last 2 games, I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult for Bangladesh to, cope up with that when they get to UAE, if they're not going to play in better wickets. But
Hmm.
I would say in Dhaka, that's all you can get. It's like
That's
playing
true.
in India, playing in Chennai.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely favorable conditions for the home side.
Yeah.
What has also been great to see is the return of Mustafizur. He seems to be bowling really well right now. He seems to be getting back. He's had a few problems with injuries in the past, changes in his bowling action and everything. And we've seen like it has very clearly affected his efficacy, if I may say so.
Hmm.
But I feel like he's found the right kind of pace now. He's not as fast as he used to be, but he's getting more lethal with the pace that he has.
Yeah. If you actually see Mustafizur also, I think just after when the cricket restarted, just after the last COVID for the first wave,
Hmm.
the Banga Bandhu T20, that's when he actually started bowling pretty well.
Hmm.
Yes, did pretty well against us in the 2020 January Bangladesh Premier League as well, but that was in patches again. But this is the tournament where he actually was at his peak, And just after that, he there was IPL, and then he started training with IPL, playing for Rajasthan, and he was massive success in the first half of the IPL that he had this year, and it continued for them in the national team. And there you go. He's a masterpiece for Bangladesh. As a fast bowler so far that they have produced. There were a couple of other bowlers like Saifuddin and them who were tipped to be the next best, but unfortunately, out of injuries, they all have gone back. But Fizz is the standout. Now, if they set up that bowling attack, what I know is Taskin Ahmed, Saifuddin, and Fizz, and a couple of other spinners like Sakib is there, and Mahdi Hassan and stuff. I think they will have a formidable attack to going into the World Cup.
Yeah, and I think T20 is. I always say this: is T20 is the most favorable of all cricket formats when it comes to upsets. I'm so really looking forward. In fact, Dhawal treats upsets in the sense that it should upset me and keeps saying that Afghanistan is going to win this year. So
they have a very good chance. Sriram, back me up with some numbers on this.
They have the best economy. They have the best economy in the world.
Yeah.
They have in the power play again 7.42, or I can be slightly misread here and there, but 7 point odd something. They are the top in terms of economy in the power play, which is in the last 2 years.
I'm sorry, but they play Ireland, man, and Namibia and all, man. Like
regardless. See, it's about this. You would have played 2 World Cups from 16, 18. To look at that, as an average, you take about 10 T20 internationals in a year. You would invariably would have played against other teams as well. So even if it's 1 or 2 games, you are still playing that. Right? I'm not. It could be of the past, fast bowlers like Hamid Hassan and Dawlat Zadran and all of them, or Mohammad Nabi, who is now, bowling in the power plays, change of role, and Rashid Khan comes and attacks after 10 overs.
Right.
For then Mujib coming and picking wickets in the power play. I mean, I'm telling you this, Afghanistan, like you said, Akash, will be one of the best, attack in the World Cup this year, especially in UK, because all of these guys have massive experience playing in the UAE. I mean, not that they have done exceptionally well in the IPL last year, if you ask me, but yes, Rashid Khan has done well, and they are looking so formidable now, especially, the new captain, adding this point again, Naveen Ullah, one of the, most exciting bowlers now coming up the ranks, and then having Najibullah Zadran, to sort of take the vice captain role. And he is batting at number 5, number 6, going and getting the 20 odd balls, 40 runs. I mean, getting 200 strike rate at that position is what every other team would be looking for today. And
absolutely.
Which is Afghanistan.
They play a fearless brand of cricket. They know they have nothing to lose. Their batting is fearless. They go out with complete intent. And their bowling, like you said, they have an insane bowling lineup. Now that you've told us about their economy, it just, backs up my point. They're going to be a very formidable side this year. And I am very seriously saying this. They have a chance of probably winning the tournament.
That's where I feel thoda zyada ho raha hai. It's just, it's also about handling pressure. It's also about strategy. It's also about pushing on weak points of people. I don't know, man.
Second highest win percentage in the last 2 years in T20 international. The first
that
is
can be
India.
misleading. I'm sorry.
That is very misleading.
Yes, I know.
Again, that's a good point to say. Like you said, playing Zimbabwe, Ireland is still an international team, test playing nation, the top 12, 15 rankings. All of that is there. But having said that, you still don't want to discard those as well, because Zimbabwe, you still have 2 bowlers from Zimbabwe who are in the top 5 or top 10, right? In terms of economy. Tendai Chatara, who's there, Blessing Muzarabani, who's actually been one of the best in the last 6 months, 8 months that I have seen.
Yeah.
And he clocks 140. I mean, not many would have known about him and would have seen of him. So the thing is that we keep noticing all these fast bowlers coming up the ranks, and who's being economical, and what we need to do if this player comes against this player. These are the matchups that we talk about. So I think no team can be discarded out of the 16 who's going to be participating in less than 2 months time, even if it's Oman, Scotland, UAE, PNG. Have you known of this country, PNG?
Yes, I'm a big fan of Papua New Guinea cricket, man. When they qualified, I almost cried. I was so joyed.
Exactly. The guys who are playing there also represent the Big Bash League, right?
Yeah.
And not just that, they have been the best fielding side in the associate world,
Yeah.
right? And they have, I think, less than I'm again 1.4, 1.5 runouts per game. That was the
Wow.
highest in the associate world,
Wow.
right? Associate nations in the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. So which
Yeah.
means every game you are sure of getting at least one or two runouts from them, which is brilliant.
That's really good.
I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't say the other way is, looking at the other way in comparison to the top test playing nations, even the top 10 test playing nations will not have this kind of strike rate for runouts.
Yeah. Well, India has been helping some nations.
I wouldn't get there, sorry, but
I would rather say Kohli's partners have been helping them. But
आगे बढ़ते हैं.
आगे बढ़ते हैं. Since we're talking about India, let's talk about India coming off of a decent series against Sri Lanka. But this is a completely different team that's playing the England series. Some players have been flown to England. So let's talk about what we're looking forward to in this series. Unfortunately, some injuries before the series has begun has brought in KL Rahul into the team. Gill and Mayank both getting injured. Mayank hopefully will be back for the next game. Thoughts on KL Rahul's selection? I mean, he was bound to get a game sooner or later, right?
definitely, because KL, if you look at the last time that he toured also, I think he fared pretty well there, and it was unfortunate. He was not probably featuring in the starting 11 before, ahead of Mayank Agarwal. I wouldn't say, again, when I saw the toss, I heard some bits of what Virat was talking today in the toss, is that the best 11 has to be on the field. So, all of those 11 that they chose, they feel that they are the best when they go out. But looking at the way KL played in that practice game as well, scoring a 50 and 100. So I think, there's nobody at this stage who is better than him in getting the big runs. And I'm sure India has probably wrapped England under 200 today.
Yeah.
I haven't been following. So that again makes it a point for KL to go out and prove a point and say, look, I'm here, I'm serious about my selection, and I'm here to prove a point. So he's going to go big, I'm sure, and I'm backing him personally.
Big series for Rohit also. It's maybe his last one in England. Maybe. You never know.
You never know, but I think, Rohit Sharma, again, going back on the records, he has had the best of English seasons in the past.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can't discard anyone. And I'm sure, if there's a chance for Prithvi Shaw to come back, and if there was any chance at all, even he could, do well. I mean, for all we know that, he started so well, and, he had a disappointing, he was a lean patch, but he came back pretty well, and he did score 800 runs in 8 games in a 50 format.
Oh my God, I have always maintained that Prithvi Shaw is one of those generational talents that you will not, it requires some handling, some management, sure, but I think he's on another level when it comes to batting. But talents have been up and down even in the past, as we've seen. So let's hope for the best for him.
At least from our point of view, we
absolutely
hope the best.
Always, but generally, he's an Indian cricketer also. So we're always wishing them all well.
Whenever I say anything about the DC players, I see Akash's eyes, dropping out. I don't know why. He probably wants to get into argument. He wants to say something, but I know he keeps it.
It's just like I think of things and then I feel I don't want to put you in a position, like that time, like recently you said, like up in the middle, you said, oh, Australia openers are, Warner is not there, Finch is not there. And I was like, there's a name missing there, my friend. There's another Australian batsman that you might want to name, but I didn't say anything because I am a big, I just moving on. Hey, you are an athlete yourself, right? And I think being an athlete would always give you that much more edge in the sense that you know what's going on in the head of, like, at least you understand the psychology of that person and that moment and that rush. Uh, how much do you think, like, this infrastructure around sport generally has improved over the years, and how much do you think technology is helping with that?
You see, with the evolution of various other sports as well, and the evolution of each sport over the years, there was always it's always tough to say that how you gauge how the sport has evolved. But definitely, I can say that without each of the support of the technology, or the players in the individuals, right? The This sport would not evolve by itself, whether within the boundaries and the limitations that they have. What I mean by it is, the associations do contribute quite a lot in terms of the development of the players. The via medium can be technology, or it could be sending the players outside and then asking them to train there. It's all about the resources that they have, right? So if you look at in maybe 15 years back, what was not available is easily available today, and that's the luxury of having an analyst. 15 years back, that was a luxury. Today it is not. It is a compulsion, right? It is mandatory, and you are bound to not go to a Tokyo Olympics, or any of
Mm,
the other world
mm,
Test championship without the analyst, right? So
mm,
you are definitely going to have this set of support staff working with you and giving you those data pointers, and understand what your oppositions are. Know your opposition. That's the point there, right? How you
yeah.
know that. So somebody has to keep digging information as much as they can. It could be a practice game, it could be a warm-up game, it could be anything, a league game, anything that they play. You still need to have a lot of information collected about them to be able to give your player as much information as you can, so they get better prepared. So it is
Mm.
definitely evolved, and it is very helpful in terms of giving the right information to your player to be better prepared.
Hmm. There's a question coming in from the chat around what you're doing only, which is someone's asking, how do you get into sports analysis professionally? Which is, yeah, which is true. Like, there's no, like, I mean, I'm sure you need to learn how to use Excel, but apart from that, I don't know anything.
See, I mean, that's as simple as that. Akash, to be honest, I mean, there's no hard and fast rule that you have to go through this grind and you have to go through several other
Hmm.
courses. You have to spend a crore, in foreign universities. Nothing like it. All you have to
Hmm.
have is passion and commitment. Once, why I talk about passion is not just about going and sitting with a player and a coach and working with them. They will come and challenge you to the core. First thing that they will say is, you have not played the game. What do you know about this?
Hmm.
So you will, but what you have in hand is the power of data, right? The data gives you so much of power to go and talk about it, to justify it, to go and tell them, look, this is right. You got to believe it. So for them to be able to trust you, that you will have to prove them with the information that you have in hand is right. And
Hmm.
you cannot simply go and say that to someone like someone like in the IPL categories, where you cannot go and tell your captain that this is right, you have to go and follow this. Like, they have to believe you. Why you say that? You have to justify it.
Hmm.
For doing that, there are several programs, workshops, even I conduct them. And I have a team of about 6 7 guys who work on a lot of things. We sort of put things together, and then we work on specific areas where the aspirants have to come and go through the grind and understand. We talk about failures, success, what if this happens, the best case scenarios, the worst case scenarios, how to use the tools, and mind management. Sometimes you are so blocked with the numbers, what you do,
Hmm.
how you take your time off the numbers, and what there was a time when last year during the IPL, there were so many things going on in my mind, the probabilities, and all I could just do is take time off and be with myself. About 30 40 minutes I was just trying to meditate, or just be with myself, close my eyes, and see that. That's sort of refreshing.
Hmm.
And that makes you understand, right, what you want ahead, what is ahead of you, and how you get to there. So all of this is best put in practice, but where you do that, how do you practice that? So we sort of work with them.
Yeah.
It's a workshop where it runs for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, like that, and they can enroll for that. Yeah.
Oh. All right. I'm going to give a quick match update for those of you who are not following it. We're at 13 for 0 after 5.3. Rohit at strike. काफी casually खेल रहे हैं. काफी सही चल रहा है. Nobody seems to be particularly perturbed by it's one of those words. Perturbed.
Nice.
So English cricket, I want it to be a little formal. But yes, none of the batsmen are particularly perturbed by the bowling. And सही लग रहा है मेरे को तो मतलब Sriram, I know you're following on text, but it's genuinely I don't know if it's me being an optimist, but sometimes when Indian openers come, you just feel like, oh man, maybe I'm gonna see a 300 today, especially with these two because they're so graceful.
In the since
KL and Rohit,
Yeah.
of course, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm missing all the fun. I can't watch the game from here, obviously, but yeah.
A lot of swing though. Maja aa raha hai. Like it's like a proper nice new ball in England.
Remember when batters couldn't play swing?
In the middle, no? For a couple of years.
For a couple of years? It's almost a decade, Akash. That it's only, I feel like the last two series since I've been watching Gill and Rohit open the batting for India, that there is some semblance of, ability to, just play 30 balls and not get out, per batter. But
Guys, you've forgotten the recent series in Australia. I mean, there was so much swing there.
Yeah.
How this Indian team performed there.
Exactly. So it's just about started recently only. Like Australian series. That's when we started playing swing.
Nothing is late anyway. So,
but I mean, this is a trend that we have kind of. I don't know. Maybe it's just us, but do you see anything indicative of this? Do you feel like there is a drop in quality of spin batting and in terms of this thing?
Akash, you asking me this or the?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Like, I mean, have you noticed numerically, like, are there such trends where there's a decade where, now spin is just not happening as much? Because now, there's a second new ball, so there's not as much, the reverse swing also gets taken out of the equation, so it's just interesting to me. Do those things affect, like, these rule changes must affect player performance, right?
Yeah. If you go to South Africa, where you invariably end up playing just one spinner and, more often than not, you will not find that spinner also, bowling in most part of the game, and which is where you see the best of best spinners that India has produced. Even those spinners don't go and bowl as much as they would have probably loved to bowl in those conditions. And the fast bowlers have actually go and pick maximum wickets, and they know how to finish games. They're probably tailor-made to that. But yes, reverse swing do come to play later part of the innings, and the fast bowlers actually are that's the treat for them when they go to all these countries, right? They love to go and bowl in those countries, and especially those 3-4 morning session and the evening session when it comes back. I think the spinners will take it on when they find that there's some bit of rough in the wicket, and when there's a bit of sun. Obviously, even if there is some bit of moisture in the wicket, they want to probably, if it's too little sticky, they would want to use, like for someone like Ashwin, to go and play that one game in Surrey where he did pretty well. I probably, from what I watched on the YouTube channel, I thought it was a bit sticky in the second innings, and it was sort of gloomy conditions for him to go and bowl pretty well there. So things like that, it really matters how the wicket plays around, but how it changed from the past to now. I think the game has evolved. You can't really blame the past, why it was that and why it is this now. The wickets got better, and a lot of the other teams have started exploring a lot of options on the opposition. They started understanding the opposition better. Every team has an analyst, right? Everybody will do their homework.
But it's
So
interesting, like when you see England, when England came to India, I mean, that just felt like such a mess because nobody seemed to be able to play spin all of a sudden. And it wasn't even that they weren't playing spin; they were just not. They were anticipating spin and they were getting out on straight balls. So it
that
just
happened to
felt
the
like,
Indian batters as well.
yeah, that's what. So suddenly, like for one series, everyone just forgot how to, or was it just that the whole series was too conducive to spin?
Here's where I have a point to make.
Hmm.
Like Akash was asking the question about inability to play swing. There seems to be this notion that Indians are good players of spin, but again, that notion does not hold true as much as it did for the current batting lineup, as it did for the earlier batting lineup
Or
where we
does it,
had.
or does
Or
it, and
does
the
it?
numbers? Yeah.
Does it as
So
far as the numbers go?
from what I know, the best players of spinners as is today, I know New Zealand has the best strike rate against the spinners, 46 or something,
Hmm.
as opposed to India and 29 or 20, 32. Again, I'm saying this. My numbers can be misread. My numbers can be misleading, or it can be interpreted or misinterpreted in any other way, form. The reason I say this is my analysis will be a time bound, and I look at it, say, for example, only for 8 months or 16 months or a particular team against a particular condition, things like that. So there are variables that are there
Hmm.
uh, alongside what I want as a result. So what I think will be seen on my filters in front of me in the dashboard, and then I make this analysis. So
Hmm.
from that perspective, I'm giving these numbers.
Hmm.
So I'm not sort of criticizing anyone here saying that they're not good or bad, but my point is that from a perspective that I was looking at all the teams, all the test playing nations today, New Zealanders have the best amongst the test playing nations
Seriously.
today, where
Hmm.
against spinners they have a track record of about 46 as an average strike rate,
That's
which
very
means
good.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Average rather, not even strike rate, average as a batting unit.
all right.
Hmm.
We have in the chat, we have Aditya. By the way, if you're watching this, hi. Well, if you just joined us, hi. We are doing an interview like we do every week. Also, India is playing a test match in England, and seems like a pretty good day to be in England and here because we're all having a bunch of fun. I have a question in the chat. I don't know if you're allowed to answer this based on the nature of your job. But the question is, why does Mayank always score against Delhi? This is coming from not just anybody, but this is coming from one of our most regular listeners who's also a cricket analyst himself. So I would love to know what you think. Can you even answer this?
Uh,
Is it even true? Is it even true? I don't know.
yeah. I can see why it's like asking why Pollard always bashes CSK. I don't have an answer. But just
Because he enjoys it. because, because he
people just
enjoys
pick
it.
their favorite teams, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It can be
Yeah.
it can really get into controversial the way.
Like
Okay.
why does Pujara perform against Australia all the time? Because he enjoys it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
also
what
the
people do pick and choose their teams and the opposition, and the way they see the bowlers, the way they see the game winning against them. So there are personal favorites and personal likes and dislikes. So they really want to see happiness in succeeding in a particular game. So it could be that as well. And
Hmm.
personally, if you ask me, last year we were all talking about it. The way we lost to CSK thrice in 2019, we wanted to come back and win that last
Yeah.
season, and we did that. I mean, good or bad, how you see it as a fan from outside is different from what we see part of the dressing room.
yeah.
So that was one of the biggest talk points actually last year for us, where we beat CSK very convincingly in
Hmm.
both games that we played. So that again carried forwarded our confidence this year when the first game that we played against CSK as well in Mumbai, where they scored 190 or something, and then we chased it down.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great match to watch, man. I felt like I was so happy, especially when Delhi also beats Chennai. It's like, like you beat anyone else, it's like, yeah, why not? It's a good team. But when you beat Delhi, no, it's when you beat Chennai, no, it's like, arey yaar, it's like it just hits a different spot in my stomach almost.
Again,
Like,
that goes to show how an established team is, how an established a team that they are. They are,
absolutely,
everybody's dream is to go and win a game against Chennai.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure every other team would be thinking the same in the IPL, at least, that they want to beat Chennai, because that again shows the satisfaction that it's not like they're against their enemies. You
No,
still
it's just that they're that good also. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and the mastermind behind it is one person. We know there are so many others who work on it, but yeah, the
He's an
brilliance.
analyst himself, right? He's one of those people who analyzes the game in depth, and I've heard stories about MS Dhoni where he can tell that the batsman is off his game just by the stance he takes and all.
Totally.
yeah,
So he's quite involved himself with the
yeah.
analysis.
You know,
Uh,
one of
yeah.
my favorite analysis stories from the IPL was on ESPN Cricket for some years ago. It was about how Mumbai bowled that magic when Malinga came back on the 2019 season and bowled that
Yeah.
magic ball to the
Other
KK.
support, yeah.
Yeah, and that wicket, that one, the Andre Russell wicket that Malinga took, and how much they planned that bowl out. It was it was Malinga out to Andre Russell only, no? In that was it or
Okay,
was it?
I thought you're talking about the
Sorry,
final
2000. No,
final
no, no,
ball.
not the final, not the final. And I remember that because that was a season where Russell was just so formidable throughout the season, and it was about how they took 2 weeks to plan that ball, where
Okay.
analysts and the team management and all of them would sit and they would try and figure out ki ye ho raha hai, ye ho raha hai, ye ho raha hai, and they finally came to that conclusion. Are there any such moments that you've had over the last few years that you can talk about, or maybe for another team that you had that you can talk about?
But quite a few. In fact, I was talking about the lesser known teams, I can say, because a lot of them, talk about Rabada bowling to Russell and Malinga bowling to Russell and all these.
Hmm.
But the lesser known teams, seldom get to hear from people, and they are not, heard of, right? So one such instant would be Nepal cricket team, where we were talking about how we defend a low total against team, I think Hong Kong in the World Cup qualifiers, where we were only chasing 154, but even to let them score 154, we did a lot of planning, and we restrict them to 154 rather, I would say,
Mm.
because they were probably ranked higher than Nepal in that qualifiers, and we were not even, I was with them that year, and we
Hmm.
qualified the first ever World Cup that Nepal, in the history of cricket for Nepal. So that was a year where we went and did a lot of work, and analytically we actually planned with the bowlers, giving them instances on how they have to sort of stop giving runs and just concede singles. Do not look to take wickets, and that
Hmm.
was a strategy by itself. And how we can explain them, we will tell the bowlers, we will sit individually with bowlers and tell them what their roles will be when they come and bowl in the death. And such instant was where we were I think defending 10 runs in an over, and there was a fast bowler called Jitendra Mukhia, if I remember right. I
Hmm.
don't know if he's still playing or not, but this guy came and defended that over. And I mean, that was, I think, the second last game before we qualified to the World Cup. And
Hmm.
that gave us a lot of courage and confidence, and boosted our, so much confidence it gave us for us to, be able to qualify to the World Cup.
Hmm.
Brilliant. We were beating teams like Ireland and Afghanistan, although, we lost to them eventually and still qualified to the World Cup. But big teams were those two.
Yeah,
So beating them and qualifying is no mean achievement.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And since we're talking about it, what are your thoughts on the World Cup format? Personally, I think it's good because there are more teams. But what do you think? Is this the way forward to get more people, more nations involved in cricket? Or would
No,
you see
you
even
mean
more?
the T20 World Cup or the 50 over World
The
Cup?
T20 World Cup.
Let's not start about the 50 over World Cup format, please. I will be very upset.
No, I
Nonsense.
think even the 50 over World Cup, I think
It's
the
getting
next,
better.
yeah, it'll have, I think, 14 teams. I was
Yeah.
hearing. Yeah. The T20 World Cup, obviously 16 teams now. I think they have also increased it to 20 from 2024 edition.
Yeah.
So it is actually going to be good. But for 2020 and 2021 edition, that is 21 and 22 edition, it remains at, I think, 14 or 16 team competition it is.
Hmm.
I think that's again, I am no one to talk about it, because the big guns sitting there make the decision. But it's
Hmm.
certainly, I think, all the associate nations. T20 internationals don't have any associates or full members. It's all international T20s. Just
Right.
goes with the rankings. That's it.
Hmm.
Which
Okay.
itself is a massive move, according to me, because if Vanuatu is playing another small island, Japan or anyone else, that is another considered to be another international game. So Argentina and Germany are playing elsewhere, so that is
Hmm.
another international itself. How we scout the players, that is something that is very important. Now I know I was with Singapore cricket team, and I've seen from close quarters how this Tim David plays. He also plays for the Big Bash. He's a massive striker of the ball. He's massive. He can really hit you 120-meter sixes. He's as big hitter as a Pollard or a Russell is, and not many of them have seen actually.
Hmm.
And not that he's got the experience to jump in and play the IPL though, but he's a potential. So how he can do that is something that the world should be watching out for. And then to be on the other side, as from the bowler's point of view, there are quite a few bowlers I have seen are particularly from the associate world are exceptionally good. They don't get as many chances now. There's because of the pandemic again, a lot of the teams are carrying net bowlers with them,
Hmm.
so they are getting a bit of chances here and there to go and showcase their talents. But yes, it's also again unfortunate circumstances, but fortunate for these bowlers to have got those chances to go and showcase their talent. And
Yeah.
if that happens, well, they get more chances outside to go and play in different leagues.
Yeah. I'm just wondering generally, what are your thoughts on the 100 that's been happening? Because I've been following women's 100 thoda bahut. As a format, how, I mean, I don't know what you think about it.
It's lovely. To be honest, I think the way I do not know the timing of the league, but I'm very sure because a lot of the guys who were there 3 days back for the tournament have
Yeah, they,
pulled out because of the not pulled out. Basically, they have gone
yeah,
to the test series. And if you look at the way Vitality Blast is played in the same time, and a lot of the players are unavailable for that, and a lot of
yeah,
the foreigners who are playing in all the other leagues or for the international respective teams. I mean, I would just say that it's a sad part for a tournament like this because you don't have the best of best players participating. But yes,
yeah.
the format itself is really so inviting, and I have followed every single game so far. Quite
Hmm.
honestly, I
Yeah,
watched.
it's not like they could move other series just to fit the 100 into the international calendar.
There was
Unless it was India. Like if India was doing the 100, then I think we would find a way.
But even that is very difficult, Akash. To be honest, I think
Hmm.
it's not a money minter. I know it's a commercial event that they're looking at. It's
Yeah.
something like an IPL for England Cricket Board. But if it's not just not that, it's beyond that because if you look at the way the tournament is placed, you will have Syed Mustaq Ali, someone like a T20 Vitality Blast, 100, very similar to an IPL. So it's a concept that they are still figuring out how it has to be done for the local cricket and ECB. But
Hmm.
in my opinion, 100 as a format is still good, but I don't know how many countries would really accept it or if BCCI will really buy in this start for the future or not. But in
Hmm.
my opinion, again, 100 as a format, as a cricket follower, as a passionate cricketer, if I were to follow this format, I would certainly do that
Hmm.
because what is so much of an economy in a T20 cricket? 10 balls, you bowl 4 overs and then you give
Yeah.
40 runs is 10 an economy, but here runs per ball.
Yeah.
20 balls, you bowl 40 runs. It's the same. The numbers are the way it is actually spoken is the same,
Yeah.
but the the way we perceive the game is so different.
Yeah.
Right now, how different it is. Now, for example, all you're talking about is just scoring run a ball or 2 runs a ball, right? And you don't have the concept of number of overs here. That's one. And secondly, if you were to plan to keep one batsman quiet, right, I can just bowl my best bowlers and one partnership because as we all know that at the last 10-20 balls the batsmen are going to take on us. So you would still have one single bowler bowl your best bowler to bowl 10 balls for you. I mean, we are still figuring out. While we are figuring out, I think there are a lot of questions that come out of our thought process and the way we discuss cricket usually. Like we all know there are about 120 crore expert commentators in India, and we all have different opinions and thoughts. But on a serious note, I think the format is very good. so
Yeah.
far, or at least from a onlooker's point of view and the way I see as a cricket fan.
Yeah. All right. Before we wrap up for today, I had one last question I wanted to ask you. As a performance analyst, seeing that the Big Blast is going to have all these weird power ups, how much harder is that going to make your job?
It's getting really horribly it's a nightmare for me, I would say, because the rule changes where if you bowl a no ball, it's got 2 runs now, it's not one, right?
This
And
is the Big
even
Bash rule.
no, even in England,
This is for
What?
the
Even in
100.
Vitality?
in yeah. So
Oh,
it's, I think, for a no ball it's 2 runs, and in Big Bash it's power surge and big boost
yeah.
and bash boost and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of innovations. Obviously, the innovations have to be there. Otherwise, it's more for the commercial point of view,
Hmm.
and how they see it. There has to be some sort of an innovation, which is good. We're not being critical of that, but from an analyst point of view, from where I derive my stats and how I put that stats across to my team, stakeholders, I will have to do a lot more work, because I sort of, figured out this is the model, this is the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
analyze the data, derive the data, and all of a sudden I have to go back and switch and make some changes in the rules and parameters that I
Yeah.
see.
And especially when the rule has just been implemented, there's really no data to go by.
Correct.
So,
And it is hard. It is hard. Yes, yeah. But we still find ways, and that, like I said, data manipulation is all about how you present the data, and how you manipulate the data, and how you present the data. Manipulation is not to be, again, misread here. Manipulation of data is how you were able to see sense behind the data, and how
Right.
what is the truth behind what we are trying to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And before we go, sorry, I had one more
Yeah.
question. It was now when you're analyzing performances, you're also analyzing fitness. So do you know at the beginning of the season as to how many overs a bowler is going to be able to bowl through the season? So in that sense, can you manage him through the season, giving him breaks, him or her breaks throughout? Do you
100%.
know this at the beginning of the season, or is this something that develops as the series goes on or as the
Hundred
tournament
percent,
goes on?
100%. We will have something called as workload management of every player, and what happens is, regardless of formats that they play. So, for example, if our players are playing all across all formats for their national teams, and they go and play other leagues as well if they had time, uh, my primary role and my primary job requires me to assess and understand and pass on the information to the medical team, that
Hmm.
strength and conditioning team, where they will actually sit and work on the workload management. I mean, understand what the bowlers have done, or what the players have, what load they have taken, or if
Hmm.
there was an injury. If I had probably that access to the data, I would probably share it with them, and they work on it. Obviously, they will have more information, but if there is anything that they wanted, they will take. Understand how many balls they bowled, how many balls in the practice sessions, in the match, where it came
Hmm.
from, with or what sort of effort, is 100%, 80%, 70%, and after injury when they come back, what they have actually done. So we work with the medical staff as well, we work with the strength and conditioning coaches, we talk to the skill coaches and talk
Hmm.
about how they have done, when, before the injury, after the injury. Lot more work actually, that goes in detail,
Yeah.
yeah, at the highest level.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's
I
not
think.
just
Yeah.
analyzing the numbers.
And not at all, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's probably pretty much all we had to talk about today, man. Thank you so much for coming and just generally enlightening us so much. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Akash. Thanks, Dhaval.
yeah, it
I
really
Yeah,
was.
please.
You guys are
We
rocking.
really we should do another one sometime soon. Post this, once you all win the IPL this year, we'll do another one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Winning is
Celebration
for
stream.
sure. Yeah,
Huh.
winning is for sure. I don't know how whether you will invite me or not, because I'm sure the thanks to your viewers as well. I don't know how many of them would really come back and watch this session again, because I keep talking, talking, talking. I love talking about cricket. I don't know how many of them will really love
No,
listening.
that's exactly who that those are the only people who watch this.
And
So
if they are not coming back to watch this, they are the ones who are missing out. So
absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, we will certainly try and find some time and do this again. All the best to
Not
you
at all.
guys.
Thank you so
thank you.
much, man. Take care.
And
Cheers, man. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
cheers. And to everybody watching, it's just me and Dhaval now. And you. So have a good night. Take care. If you haven't already, like ठोक के जाना. और मिलते हैं अगले हफ्ते for the next one, because this is what we do. This has been Couch Pundits Cricket Podcast once again.
And is it over?
No, I have not shared.
Oh, you've not shared.
Should I?
I mean, yeah,
Okay,
okay,
bye.
there is. Bye.